of my frustrations.
I was just coming on to that. What is your biggest frustration at being a counsellor?
There's probably two. The biggest eye opener for me is the political side of things, how much politics goes on, and I absolutely hate it. I hate the politics. For example, I will not be, no one will ever support me in council if you're from the Labour Party because I'm an independent councillor. Because my husband is part of BCI, I'm not, but they think that I am because my husband is, because I'm a stupid female who doesn't have her own voice. So if he's linked to them, I must be. So I must be linked to other groups. I must have the same mind as my husband. So instantly I'm criticised. For example, they voted in a Conservative chair of corporate scrutiny instead of myself the other day because none of them would ever support me because probably of my husband, but that I'm independent and they don't trust independence. And sometimes the best person for the job is being overlooked because of politics. And so that frustrates me. It frustrates me when I'm belittled and laughed at because I'm a female. And as I explained at the start, I've got a law degree. I'm not, I'm
No.
not, I've gone and worked my way up. I'm not somebody who I know what's going on. And when I try and raise things, sometimes I'm just ignored. So that frustrates me in that respect. And the fact that I just can't believe the politics that goes behind everything. And it is sometimes when you're in full council, particularly when we used to be in the chamber, it used to be like if I go into my children's nursery class sometimes, and it'd be like the arguments against each other, two sides, just, oh, it's just embarrassing. It's just, so I don't like the political underhand nastiness and the trying to, for example, I was on the planning committee and it was during the 5 mile exercise where you could only go out for 5 miles and I'd gone past the one of the areas that we were discussing in planning, one of the sites. So instantly, you could see there were people on their phones sending messages between each other in a political group to try and belittle me on camera and say, "Oh, you've breached lockdown rules, you've done this and that," and trying to get me into trouble without asking first. It was, I'm sat in my dining room. I go up one street to this house. So, and this is the route me and my daughter cycled throughout lockdown. So if I cycle past somewhere, I can take photographs as I'm there. I wasn't even a mile away from my house with the 5 mile rule, but it's constantly trying to belittle people and try and catch them out. And I can't believe there are people who are so sad that they spend all their lives doing that. And I was in council on last week and I was having issues with my laptop and my phone. So I was logged into both into council and I was trying to work out because I had Wi-Fi problems, which one was I going to use because I couldn't get my laptop linked to my 4G. So immediately, why are there two Amanda Williamses in here? As if I've allowed somebody else to log in or something. It's constant conspiracy theory of trying to trip people up. So I don't like that because it is people overthinking
Yeah.
things and not just getting on with their own. They're too busy worrying about others and politically trying to undermine constantly. So I don't like that. And the other thing I don't like is that there are some amazing officers in BCBC who work flat out and get things done. And you put a referral in and you've got fair play, you've got the response back, everything before you even shut your laptop off the end of the day sometimes. And there are people like that, but there are also some who are very slow. And if you try and push that, you don't get anywhere. And I often feel like in some circumstances, it's the officers who are running the council. And you go into cabinet, and I just don't bother anymore because you don't get the pressure put on certain
No.
people, because there are certain directors, corporate directors, who haven't do not respond to my emails at all. Do not just ignore me,
Mm.
and that's not acceptable. And yet you haven't got the people there who will say, hang on, no, you listen to us. You need to work with us, not just ignore us, unless
Yeah.
you're in the political, the ruling
Political
group.
circle. Yeah.
Unless you're in the ruling group, you don't matter. And we do matter. And I think sometimes we
Mm.
are being left and our residents are being left. And it's just not fair.
I'm guessing that's part of the reason why the Independent Alliance was formed, to be able to work together more. But it's not just independents are part of that group, is it?
No, no, and we haven't, and we formed an independent alliance in BCBC because we are now the opposition, so
Yeah.
we've got the biggest group, but we're not told how to vote. We're not told we have to agree. Everything we do is our own decision, and we've got a Liberal Democrat in our alliance. We've got a Propel member, but we come together for the benefit of the community to try and give a voice to
Yeah.
those who aren't being listened to. So, and there are independents who are not in the
Yeah.
Independent Alliance who want to work in a different type of independent alliance. They're not called an independent alliance, but
Yeah.
you've got the Flimvy independents, or
Yeah.
you've got other independents who work together in groups, and you've got others who are independent on their own. And but it's just so that we've got support, and then as a group, we've got a louder voice than
Yeah.
singularly.
Yeah. I was going to ask something else, and it's completely gone out of my mind. When you were talking, it came to me, and it just totally went. But it's thrown me off now. It has.
Sorry.
So I, I spoke to Alex. It was a question that he turned it a bit. I said, what would be a policy that you would love to introduce? And he said, well, if I became leader of the council, the first thing I'd do is 100 days of. I'll get somebody in to do a performance review of everything. So
Yeah.
we're not performance reviewing ourselves, we're getting somebody from outside to do that. If you had a similar choice that you became leader, what would be the policy that you would like to introduce?
Well, I would like to see better use of this one council approach because I don't think there is a one council approach with a lot of
No.
elements. For example, you've got parks and highways. Parks will empty the bins in parks, highways will empty the bins on the highway. That's a duplication of costs. And there are some areas that are cutting costs and yet you're paying two people to do the same job. And then I was told, because when I was going out to get quotes for Persimmon for them putting in bins, because they were looking at how much it
Yeah.
would cost if BCBC were to empty them. BCBC said, well, it'd be this much because then you have to have a supervisor in the vehicle as well as the person doing the bin emptying. So the supervisor sits there and watches the person emptying the bins. So they can't. So then you've got four people. So there are three bins in Coity in the village. So you've got four people who come out, two empty two of the bins, two empty the other bin because it belongs to parks. And you just think, how can you have one council approach when it even when you knuckle it down to that you
Yeah.
can't. So I would do a review and I would bring in all these services that are very similar and say you need to be we need to
Work
get rid of this, get rid of that, and then bring it all under one.
umbrella,
Yeah,
basically.
because you might still need the same amount of staff because then you've got increased bins. So that's fine. You're not losing any staff. However, instead of then wasting your time thinking, is this a parks bin? Is this a this bin? Oh, I don't know. And the amount of time to in and fro in with emails, oh, this isn't our bin, this is highways bin, and this is this and that, the amount of time wasted just with that alone
Yeah.
without getting the job done. And it means then that if somebody's off sick, that person can cover the other person's route, but they
Yeah.
can't now because they're different directorates, different departments. So they can't cover, so you
So
can't work together. So it would be a similar thing to Alex Williams in that I think there needs to be a review because I think there is a lot of wastage there that can be looked at, and you know, cuts
Bet-
can be made there rather than cut in services.
Better
Because,
redirecting the funds that you
well,
use,
yeah, I think there's
using them better.
better use of funds there. Certainly, it could be far more smoothly run, and I think you can tailor different areas so that you're not cutting things like buses. You're not cutting school home to school transport. You don't have to even think of all of those then because you've got a
Yeah,
streamlined business.
that's
Because having
yeah,
worked in the private sector and then in the public sector and now as a counsellor, you can see the amount of wastage when it's not your money.
yeah.
When it's not your money, there's a lot of wastage.
Okay, then. I think I'm down to my final question. Now, I didn't get any from the public. I think it was too short a time. We'll do another
Yeah,
interview closer to the next election. And I think people will have a lot more questions then with their
yeah.
councillors. But this is the last question. Will you be standing at the next election?
I think I will. I've had ups and downs thinking, oh, do I or don't I? Because some days you just think, why am I doing all of this? Because you do get shouted at, you do get tagged sometimes about, oh, you're rubbish, you don't do anything, you don't know anything. And I do get fake profiles trying to,
And
belittle me and
and
cause problems. And you think, and sometimes it's, quiet life is sometimes the
easier.
easier option. And but I don't think, certainly whilst Teal Spencer is an issue, I cannot step aside because I want to get that done.
Same
And
attitude as Martin. If you want me to go
I
away,
want,
just build a path there.
yeah, if yeah, that's me. If you want me to go away, build a path on Heel Spencer and sort out an extension to Coity Primary so that all the children
Yeah.
who live in Coity can attend the school that's right next to them. So those are my two ambitions. So
As soon as those two are done, then you're all happy
then
and fine. But
I'm
some,
happy I can retire and I can just become a full-time football mum.
so take note, council. If you want rid of Martin and you want rid of Amanda, build a path on Hill Spencer and
And
get the
sort out the school.
school.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. It would be good for the community council as well because we'd stop pestering BCBC about a path on their residents would stop it as well.
Yeah. And we'd all be happier and safer and
Yes,
everyone would, yeah,
and they'd stop the. They'd have to. They could then stop the school transport from Coity Village to Coity Primary
yeah,
as well.
because it's not safe. Yeah. So,
So
but there we go. We can all wish, can't we?
we can all wish. We've all got a wish list of things we'd like them
Yeah.
to do
I
for
think
us.
I've got more chance of winning the lottery than seeing those two things happen. But there we go.
You never know. Next year, the political landscape could change. We don't know. It could
Yeah.
be independents running the council with other groups, or it could be Conservatives, or still Labour. We just don't know at this point.
No. And with the boundary changes and boundary
Yeah.
commission changes going ahead, we don't know how many councillors will be representing
Yes.
which wards.
The reduction in councillors does mean that the threshold for getting a majority is actually lower now than what it
Yeah.
is currently because
Yeah.
there are
But
more.
I'm not averse to reducing councillors because obviously,
Mm,
we're here to do a job. We do get paid for it. Not as much money as a lot of people think, but if you
it
could, you've got to make cuts everywhere.
yeah,
So,
but
but
it's
and I
got to
think
be
there's more than enough of us to do the work.
yeah
But you need to make sure you haven't got these super wards, which I think Coity Higher will become a super ward with three areas thrown in with three councillors, which makes it
mm,
crazy
uh,
because
yeah
if you have one councillor who wants to do all the work and two councillors who are content to sit back and not do anything, you've got then one councillor who's running ragged doing it all.
yeah. It's the same with Pencoid. That's becoming one thing, but yet the super ward that we do have, they're
Is
breaking up.
becoming, yeah, yeah. So I
So
just think,
there's no common sense in what they're in the way
And
they're
it's
doing things.
no, and even the suggestions, the sensible suggestions that went to them, showing them how they could split up areas
Yeah,
sensibly, they didn't consider. So it's a shame, but as long as it's not the residents who lose out with all of this.
we hope it works out for the residents, and
Yeah.
I think as long as it's done in the correct way, a reduction in councillors is a good thing.
Yes.
But if
Yeah.
it's done at the detriment of residents losing a voice,
Yeah.
then it's it could be wrong. Anyway,
Yeah.
I will say thank you because it's not long before both of us have to go on the school runs.
Yeah.
Um,
Great.
thank you for that, and
No problem. Anytime.
we will speak again at some point, probably before the next election, unless they build a footpath on Hill Spencer and extended Coity School.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure we'll definitely speak going to
Yeah.
the next election. Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody who tuned in, and thank you for all the support you've given me recently with the amount of videos being watched and 125 members now on the page. That's gone up
Oh,
since
excellent.
yesterday. And I
Nice.
today ordered a new T-shirt that says Bridgend Political Owl on it. So
Oh,
that means
excellent.
that. Anyway, thank you, Amanda, and
Thanks,
we'll
very
speak
nice.
again soon.
Have a nice weekend,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.